Coming to you from a cozy little condo high atop Old 4th Ward, Atlanta. Welcome to The Ron Show on America One Radio. Here's your host, Ron Roberts.
All right, and a happy Thursday to you. If you know somebody who has to deal with the morning commute in and around Midtown Atlanta, they may not be in such a good mood this morning. Not off to a good start when you have this going on.
Let's take it right up top to the Sky Tracker. We got a little situation developing in Midtown. You can see a lot of flashing lights there, blue and red. Apparently, we've got protesters shutting down Peachtree between 17th and West Peachtree, right there in the heart of Midtown. If that's your port of call, Spring Street will obviously take you in one direction. Piedmont will get you in the other. But right now, it looks like we could tell from this shot right here, a great shot from the Sky Tracker. We are shut down on Peachtree. Again, this is between 17th and West Peachtree. We'll keep you up to date on that. All right.
So that from WXIE TV 11 Alive, that is amid a Cop City protest. A person, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution's Rosanna Hughes, locked themselves to construction equipment in Midtown to protest Atlanta's planned public safety training center. Okay, so don't take this the wrong way, but they're not burning equipment this time. I find this to be something of an improvement. No, seriously. The activists locked themselves to a construction elevator at a Brassfield and Gorey work site, according to Rosanna Hughes at the AJC, between 17th and West Peachtree Streets around 6 a.m. this morning. Atlanta police are at the scene, assessing the situation, and have closed Peachtree Street in both directions. As of putting this show together at 8 a.m., that is still the case. By the way, in another note, this as well from WXIA TV.
Well, a change is coming to Atlanta City Council. Council member Keisha Waits has announced that she will be stepping down. She currently serves in the post 3 position. Waits will step down on Friday. She tells us she plans to run for Fulton County Clerk.
Her position on city council will be filled temporarily. I believe there has to be, within 2 weeks, an announcement for a special election. She, one of the 4 city council votes against the Atlanta Public Safety Training Facility. So Cop City advocates, first of all, lose some support on city council, but also have an opportunity now to flex their muscle with a city council seat, which, by the way, is not a district seat. This is an open seat. The entire city gets to vote on this city council seat. This will give Cop City advocates the referendum, sort of, that they've been looking for. Oh, speaking of elections, we seem to have some competition now for Judge Scott McAfee, the judge at the center of the Fonnie Willis Nathan Wade disqualification effort and the Trump election interference cases. Tamar Holloman and Greg Bluestein collaborating at the AJC to report that civil rights attorney and talk radio host Robert Patillo plans to run against Scott McAfee, who has been overseeing those high-profile election interference cases. Patillo plans to qualify. Is it Patillo or Patillo? Plans to qualify as a candidate for the position today, according to multiple people with knowledge who declined to speak on the record. He is the former executive director of the Rainbow Push Coalition, the social justice and civil rights group founded by the Reverend Jesse Jackson, also a criminal defense attorney, cable news pundit, and a former candidate for State House who has previously billed himself as a conservative Democrat. Hollerman and Bluestein continue. McAfee, a former Fulton and federal prosecutor, is running for a full 4-year term on the bench after being appointed by Governor Brian Kemp in late 2022. His platform includes clearing the backlog of cases created by the pandemic, providing maybe we shouldn't allow these little inquiries about disqualification, providing a path forward for nonviolent offenders and holding violent offenders accountable. Patillo, meanwhile, I'm going to go with Patillo. That sounds right. Plans to focus on promoting restorative justice program for juvenile offenders, clearing cases and reducing wait times for trial, and diversifying Fulton's judicial bench. He does not initially appear to be challenging McAfee due to his work on the Trump case. Of course, we know Donald Trump is the presumptive nominee for the GOP. Fonnie Willis also qualifying, and we have this from her doing so.
talk to you real quick?
Yes.
First, let me ask you about qualifying. Tell us what it means to you.
It means everything. I didn't think it would be as exciting, but it turns out the second time is still a charm, and I'm really excited. I've said it before, being the district attorney in Fulton County is the greatest honor of my entire life. I love this community. It's my home. It's where I raise my children. It's where I want to keep safe. I'm honored to serve. I'm honored for just the outpouring of support that I continue to get, and I am so excited to be here again today. I feel giddy.
What's your perspective on the efforts, particularly in the Georgia Senate, by Republicans to reprimand you and to scrutinize you, to investigate you?
I think it's all just a political quest. I think that people are angry because I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to stand up for justice, no matter who is the person that may have done wrong in Fulton County. And so they can continue on with their games, and I'm going to continue to do the work of the people.
If you're called before the committee, will you appear?
I will discuss that with my lawyer, and me and my lawyer will make a decision, and whatever decision he advises is best, I'll make.
Did you watch the hearing this morning?
I did not get to see all of it. I had pieces that people were watching, but no, I didn't have time to sit for 3.5 hours, I understand, and went and watch. I did not.
What's your message to any prospective challengers who might run against you on the Republican or Democratic side?
I think this is a democracy we live in, right? And so people have a right to run for office, but they should come prepared for a fight. They should know that my heart is still in this work. My heart will continue to be in this work, and I intend to be the DA for the next 4 years and 9 months.
Judge McAfee could rule at any moment. Are you feeling confident in your defense of this motion to disqualify from the case?
That's where I don't want to comment, because it's commenting on an active case, and so I won't comment. But I think we presented the law, and I'm always hopeful that a judge will make a decision that is in line with the law.
Thank you, ma'am.
And by the way, while we're on the whole Trump election interference, Fani Willis kerfuffle, the Georgia Senate hearing, the committee investigating the district attorney's alleged misconduct, had an opportunity to meet yesterday morning. You heard Fani ask about that. If she watched that, it didn't seem it was on her radar. It was on Stanley Dunlap's radar. He, of course, the reporter with the Georgia Recorder, who gave us a little bit of insight in that, saying that the defense attorney who filed the motion in January seeking to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the Trump 2020 presidential election interference case testified Wednesday before a state Senate committee about how she uncovered an affair between the DA and a special prosecutor. Now, by the way, I think I've said this before. This panel doesn't really have a whole lot of power to do much specifically to Fani Willis in this case. This just is an opportunity that Georgia Senate Republicans are giving Ashley Merchant and her co-counselors in the election interference disqualification measure an opportunity to air out all the dirty laundry and potentially, as we talked about last week, to enact some new legislation to give the General Assembly and the governor the opportunity to admonish or disqualify potentially district attorneys in the future. Anyway, back to the article. Ashley Merchant testified Wednesday before a Senate Special Committee on Investigations that she began requesting open records about Nathan Wade's contract with Fulton County DA's office and other details surrounding his November 2021 appointment by Willis shortly after Merchant was hired in August of last summer to represent Michael Roman in the election interference case. So, drilling down to what happened in the hearing yesterday, Merchant testified that Terrence Bradley, Wade's former law partner and divorce lawyer, informed her about Wade and Willis' affair in September while they were working on separate cases at the Cobb County Courthouse. Bradley was upset that Wade had asked the prosecutor's longtime wife for a divorce after meeting Willis at a judicial conference while both were municipal court judges in October 2019, according to Ashley Merchant. Merchant also testified that Bradley would review the timeline and confirm other details about Wade and Willis before she filed the motion against Willis in January. Bradley then grew worried as people associated with Willis and Wade began questioning whether he was the unnamed source cited by Merchant, she testified yesterday. He was upset because they were still married and he, meaning Nathan Wade, essentially just left her after meeting Miss Willis and dropping the kids off at college. Now, forgive me if my memory's foggy, but I actually do think I remember in Nathan Wade's testimony or somewhere in the testimony process that he had testified that their marriage had been sort of on ice for years as it was, that they were just waiting on kids to attend college before announcing or deciding that they were going to file for divorce. So I don't know necessarily how Merchant's recollection of the timeline really runs afoul of what Nathan Wade asserted. Again, if memory serves, there's so much testimony to keep up with. It's really kind of getting difficult. While also, this isn't my paying gig. There's other jobs to do here outside of this show for me. But yeah, if memory serves, I believe that's kind of what Nathan Wade testified in the disqualification case when he was called to do so. Okay, back to Steve Dunlap's reporting at the Georgia Recorder. Republican Senator Bill Cowsert, who chairs the special Senate panel, said Wednesday the panel subpoenaed Merchant to learn more about her allegations against Willis and Wade. The special committee will also independently review the financial records and other documents Merchant provided to them under the subpoena, said Cowsert, an Athens attorney. He said, we're also specifically tasked with, if necessary, amending existing statutes or creating new statutes to build guardrails to essentially restore the public faith in our criminal justice system. This committee has made it clear from the beginning it is not our intent in any way to interfere with criminal prosecutions, and so I would not want to be circumventing a court order that was for the protection of the privacy of the parties to that case. There were also some fireworks because guess what? There get to be Democrats on this Senate panel as well. In fact, according to Dunlap, in a lengthy back and forth exchange with Democratic Senator Harold Jones from my hometown of Augusta, Merchant was peppered about whether her claims of Willis' conflict of interest were actually supported by her court filings. According to Jones, Merchant has not provided evidence in Fulton Court that any so-called conflict of interest with Willis has caused Roman to be treated unfairly as a defendant. Jones also pushed back on Merchant's claims that Wade and Willis have a financial incentive to play out the case as long as possible. He said, earlier you said you believe, which was total speculation, that they created this case against your client to do more legal billing. And what you're now telling me is Wade was willing to stop his billing because he offered your client a misdemeanor and you rejected it. Merchant responded that Willis was not being honest about Wade paying for several cruises. Again, a Fulton County District Attorney can afford a cruise trip, and other vacations taken with Willis. She failed to file a financial disclosure form that required her to list any gifts over $100 she received from someone doing business with the county. Willis has testified in Fulton Court she used thousands of dollars in cash primarily to reimburse Wade for trips and other expenses incurred during their relationship. I would have audio for you of this, but I do actually have a live YouTube link. I will give you that if you'd like to watch it for yourself in full. We'll have that in the show notes today at ronshowatl.com. I'm running a little short because the first ever mayor of Mableton, Georgia, Michael Owens, is going to be joining me next. We'll have him on to discuss the safety situation around Six Flags theme park, which is in his new city's jurisdiction, and other issues concerning the new city in Metro Atlanta. When the Ron Show returns, stand by for that. You can follow the Ron Show on any of your social media outlets of choice. That would be at Ron Show ATL, Facebook, the X Twitter platform, Instagram, Threads. I haven't done much on Threads. I keep telling myself I'm going to get on that. Anyway, first things first, when you walk into the Mableton City Hall, when you walk into most city halls, you get the long wall of the portraits of mayors. Forgive the city of Mableton if that long wall only has one face on it. And that's because Mableton is a brand new city, about 41,000 residents in South Cobb County. And I'm honored to have the mayor of Mableton on. I want to thank you so much for joining us, Michael Owens.
Good morning, Mr. Roberts. Happy to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about Mableton.
Yeah, so the challenges of being the first mayor of a pretty sizable city in Metro Atlanta had to be pretty daunting, but you decided to run for it anyway. Were you on board from the get-go with the initiative to turn Mableton into a city?
I absolutely was. Absolutely, 100%. And, if that was the will of the voters, I will say that.
Mm.
But, being someone who's lived in Mableton, my family moved here in 1998, I've seen the challenges, struggles, and quite frankly, the opportunities that existed here if we could have a local municipality that could help move us along in the right direction.
So I reached out to you to talk a good bit about the city in its infancy and the challenge that I think came to my mind and hit my radar here early this week was after the weekend we had obviously a shooting just outside Six Flags theme park, which lies ta-da in Mableton's jurisdiction. And I know that there's some grand plans around developing around Six Flags to finally turn that mostly industrial and blighted sort of area around a vibrant theme park into something more. But I wanted to talk about the safety issues around that first, if you don't mind. I know you actually are a Marine veteran, so what do you bring to this conversation from your experience that can help turn that area and your city in general into a safe place to live and to have fun when you want to go to Six Flags?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, thank you for acknowledging the fact I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I do take immense amount of pride in that, and all the Marines that are out there, and everyone who's served in whatever capacity. So what does that bring to the table? It's just a willingness really to step up and to help do my part, do whatever I can. You mentioned that Six Flags is clearly with jurisdiction of the city of Mableton, but that in itself is new as well. Mableton, now that since we've been incorporated, is quite larger than that 41 or 42,000 people used to be. Mableton is now a city of 80,000 people almost, and part of that is this newer area that we've incorporated, where Six Flags exists. Now, we all understand in large cities there are challenges in certain areas, and Mableton is not immune to that either. But one thing I want to bring to the table is a willingness to turn that around, to put some specific focus on that area and truly, turn that into a destination area. I've mentioned before about Six Flags becoming the Six Flags Entertainment District, which is not just Six Flags. You could argue that is the anchor, right, without a doubt. But the ability to take that part of the city, which Interstate 20 runs right through, and which we have available space and opportunity, and really make it something special. Now, to kind of continue to do that, there are challenges that we need to specifically address. And this is not specifically because of the incident that happened at opening day of Six Flags. This is something that we've spoken about before. I think this is just a reality of the situation, of the possibilities, but I'm quick to remind people that, Six Flags as a park is still a very safe place to go and visit. I go there, my kids go there quite often, go there a lot actually. And, it's a place we go from a professional standpoint for meetings. I was there not long ago with the president of Six Flags. We opened the brand new roller coaster that they have. So it's been a place where, me and my family go, and we will continue to visit. But at the same time, we have to address issues that we have in and around the park, I think, head on, and look and come up with some concrete or action plans that we can actually take out of that. So, the goal of the meetings that I proposed was an opportunity to get public safety officials, community stakeholders, business owners, and elected officials together in a room, to have some distinct conversations about what we need to do going forward. Everybody bring their ideas. Let's look for innovative solutions. And, I truly believe that, putting all of our heads together, putting the ideas on the table, find out what's feasible, what's not, looking at other places. I've been on the phone talking to mayors from all over the country, specifically with mayors that have theme parks in their cities, and look and see if they've had challenges and how they've addressed those challenges. So again, as mayor of a city, and although we are a new city, I'm taking advantage of the opportunity that my role provides, by example. Like I said, a good example is reaching out to those mayors, right, and having these conversations to look for solutions where they may exist and see what we can bring to the table, to ensure that Six Flags, that the city of Mableton and everywhere within our boundaries is a safe place for people to work, live, play, and visit.
You say that you and your family go to Six Flags and you take your kids go often. Are your kids old enough that you sometimes can just let them go on their own?
I personally do not let my kids go on there. My son is 13 and my daughter is 12.
But you understand that it does happen a lot where we have kids that just they go on their own, unattended, without adults. Does that concern you in any way, shape, form, or fashion?
Absolutely, that concerns me. I mean, health and safety of our youth is paramount. I don't know a lot of things that's more important than ensuring that our children are safe, no matter where they are. So Absolutely, that's important to me.
Does that conversation come up when you meet with theme park officials who discuss the safety concerns? Because it seems like what happened over the weekend had a lot to do with unattended teens and things just kind of snowballing out of hand.
I think that is a conversation that has to be had.
Yeah, understood. Okay. And by the way, we're on with Michael Owens. He is the first mayor of the new city of Mableton, Georgia. And by the way, congratulations. You doubled the size of the city in your first term. Want to congratulate you for that.
So I'm not going to take credit for that, but it's Mableton. A fun fact: we are, I think, the 12th largest city in the state of Georgia right now.
I mean, you just jumped. You jumped all these cities that were vying for top 15 status here.
Yes. Yeah, look, that's there's some responsibility that comes along with that as well. We're also the largest city in Cobb County, largest city by landmass and population. So, to me, that's a tremendous amount of opportunity that we've been given. But also that's 80,000 different wants, needs, concerns, issues that we have to deal with. But I'm up for the task. Our council is up for the task, and as a new city, every single day is a new journey, is a new set of priorities, and we're just excited to be working with the county and working with the people of the community to help shape and forge the city going forward.
This is The Ron Show on America One Radio.
We're with Michael Owens, the very first mayor of the city of Mableton, Georgia. Now, the 12th largest city in the state and the largest in Cobb County. He says, boy, that's got to tick the folks in Marietta off. They better get on the stick here. Real quick, the city's website is mableton.gov, an easy URL, the mayor says, because, believe it or not, Mableton is the only city in the United States named Mableton. Wow. So I want to get back to talking about the infancy of this city, and the thing that came to my mind after the incident at opening day at Six Flags last weekend was the fact that Mableton, as of yet, doesn't really have a police department. But that's something that I guess, since you're kind of getting your legs up under you, that is something that's going to come in the near future, right? You're still collaborating with Cobb County on a lot of services.
So we are absolutely still collaborating with Cobb County. I meet with the Cobb County Police Chief on a regular basis. We have a great relationship, as well as with the sheriff of Cobb County and the public safety director. So the relationship that we have there is good. It's a strong working relationship. Because we do not have our own police department, as you mentioned, nor do we have fire. Now, what I can tell you is that we do not have any immediate plans to take on fire or police. We understand there's some immediate challenges come along with that. Police is obviously very expensive. It's the challenges of hiring police officers and training police officers is something I hear quite often as a challenge across the state. And so we're really focused on several key services as we stand up our new city. It is around planning and zoning and code enforcement, sanitation, and parks and rec. And those are really intentional, because when you think about it, that gives us the greatest opportunity to have the biggest impact in our city.
Quality of life, right.
There's a quality of life issue. If we can talk about parks and rec, where we can, deliver park services and programs, for kids and for the elderly, to build a stronger sense of community. Obviously our planning and zoning is all about where we're going to go as a future. Mableton is growing. Mableton is growing. As a matter of fact, we were in Forbes magazine. The city of Mableton had the single largest home value increase in the entire state of Georgia last year, from August 22 to August 23. And so that lets you know our city is growing. People are finding out more and more about this new city, and are looking to move here. But we want to make sure there's smart growth. We want to make sure there's planned growth. And also, to the establishments that's been here and things that we're trying to do to uplift, we want to make sure that we establish a strong code enforcement and zoning policies, so we can make sure that, Mableton looks inviting, it feels inviting, and we deal with all the challenges that we need to. Sanitation is obviously one of those as well, to ensure that's a quality of life type issue that we want to make sure we handle. And in the other areas we partner with, we're partnering with our businesses. We've just started issuing business licenses in the city of Mableton. So that's kind of a service that we have brought in, that we've taken over, and now we're integrating with our business community to make sure that, they're happy, that we're uplifting them, we're partnering with them. But it's a 2-year journey. And I would say 2 years from the beginning it's about a year and a half that we have left. So by June of 2025, we have to have those other services transitioned over and fully stood up as a city entity. That is what the state of Georgia has required of us when they created the state and when they created the city of Mableton.
So when I think of Mableton, I'm a real estate agent, so I show houses throughout Metro Atlanta. When I think of Mableton, I don't think of like a town center or any signature spot. It's essentially a lot of sprawl and unplanned development. What are the plans to address that to give Mableton an identity?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges, and it's one that we've been looking at. If you think of the Mableton Amphitheater, right, it's probably the signature edifice or building in the city,
Right.
and we're going to continue to kind of build around that. If you think of the epicenter, if you think of the if you think that the amphitheater, and then across the street from that is the post office, and then across the street from that is the library. So that starts to form a center area right on Floyd Road.
Yeah.
A lot of people always think of the central part of Mableton as the intersection between Floyd Road and Veterans Memorial. Obviously, we have a strong corridor, but we have several corridors that go through Mableton. Now, East-West Connector is one viable corridor. Veterans Memorial is another, and then obviously Interstate 20 goes right through on the southern part of the city. So, a lot of people come through Mableton. If you think of the entire western part of Metro Atlanta, if you will, are driving right through Mableton every day to get when they go into Midtown or downtown or anywhere around 285. So, we understand that. So we're looking at all the things that we can do to make the city a better place. We've kicked off this initiative called Mableton 2045, or at least we'll kick it off officially pretty soon. And this is the first comprehensive city planning effort that we're going to do. And obviously it's labeled Mableton 2045 because that's how far out in the future we're looking when it comes to our land use, our planning, our zoning efforts, and how we're truly going to look to build Mableton is a city that the residents want to see. As it relates to your specific question around downtown, we're actually designing and developing a downtown that will be coming in the years to come. We have what's called the Downtown Development Authority that we're going to be creating, whose job is really to outline the downtown district, determine what buildings or shops should go in that, have an opportunity to ensure that we have the right zoning or the right planning in place, the look and feel. Mableton has had through the county different assessments and plans that's been done over the years. None of them have quite made it to fruition to become real, go from paper to actual development. We have that opportunity now that we have a city. So that is without a doubt one of the most impactful things that we will be doing as a city over the next several years is designing and ultimately building out what our downtown from Mableton will look like.
We're with Michael Owens, the first mayor of the new city of Mableton, Georgia, in South Cobb County. I heard you talk a lot about your corridors, the interstates and the highways in Floyd, downtown. Tell me what you envision for Mableton's future with regards to transit beyond the vehicle.
The transit is going to be a very critical part of what we're doing in Mableton. Yes, I mentioned the corridors because we literally border the city of Atlanta, right? We sit on the Chattahoochee River, and we have those corridors, which means a lot of people, not only people that live within our city, but people that are traversing our city as they're trying to get to other places. We find ourselves in an interesting situation as it states right now. Part of that comprehensive Mableton 2045 plan will include a transportation plan, but we're also in Cobb County where there will be a referendum this year on what's called MSPLOS, which is the mobility tax that will be on the ballot for everyone to vote on, which is a 30-year plan around transportation and transportation spend. So, I'm meeting with county officials to make sure that Mableton is represented in that plan and that we have items that will be on that project list. So if and when the residents of Mableton and Cobb County approve it, we will have a strong list of projects that people in our city will benefit from. And some of those examples is expanded bus service in those corridors that I mentioned, specifically on Veterans Memorial, where, as you know, we have a lot of shops that we want to make sure that people have access to. there's bus terminals or hubs, transit hubs that we want to see put in. I, have a love for outdoors and nature and ecology, so I want to make sure that we have expand our park systems and create some brand new parks and trails, or I should say, create brand new trails that connects some of our parks together. It's some things that I would like to see. I want to make sure we still focus as much as we are talking about building new things, that we keep focus on our environment, right, and making sure that we're protecting some of this fantastic natural area that we have here in Mableton. So there's going to be a balance of growth, redevelopment, and sustainability efforts at the same time. So mentioning transportation is really key, because that's going to be central to a lot of things we do. And of course, if we're talking about building a downtown area, we want to make sure that there is not just, we're looking at items that may exist around congestion, but I'm also looking at how we can make Mableton a better place for pedestrians.
Right.
How we can make it more friendly to walk throughout the city. It's, again, I think Mableton's like a lot of other cities where it's very heavy car dependent.
Mhm.
But, I envision a city where, you drive into the downtown area and you park, and you have every opportunity to walk to, shops and restaurants and entertainment and government facilities and civic buildings. And this is what I really want to impart into the city as we build and grow, is to make sure it's multimodality. It's simply put that you can get around by bike, foot, car,
Mhm.
and enjoy yourself, and it be accessible and easy to do that.
We're with the mayor of Mableton, Georgia, Michael Owens. Would you be open to at least having the conversation where you see more of a tie-in with what Atlanta and Fulton and DeKalb County already enjoy with MARTA, seeing that encroach into your community if Cobb decided one day, yeah, you know what, we put this off long enough. It's time to join with Metro Atlanta to see MARTA expansion. I mean, is that a vision in your mind?
I think we absolutely have to find ways to tie into the MARTA system. I mentioned about people traversing the city and a lot of that traffic, as we all know, is going into Atlanta and into areas where MARTA serves.
Right.
Now, my personal opinion is I think MARTA could expand to many places throughout the Metro Atlanta.
Absolutely.
And Mableton was only one of those places,
Right.
but there's a tremendous opportunity um, for expansion. And one could argue if that's rail, or if that's other things. I think many times when people think MARTA, they are thinking rail. We
Rail,
have
yeah.
HE Homes um, as the closest MARTA rail station to Mableton, and yeah, I would love to see that expanded. The reality of that is quite different, however,
Mm-hmm.
given the circumstances and plans. And um, but I'm all for democracy, and if the numbers work, put it on the ballot and let the people have their say. That would be the direction that I would take. However, again, it's not this is not a singular Michael Owens decision around this. Um, but I do think that we have the opportunity through our transit plans to expand service that Cobb County currently has out into them, at least to making MARTA connections. And
Mm-hmm.
we do have some. There are some limited connections that we do have to MARTA. We have 2 bus lines that run through the city of Mableton currently, and there's also a connection that goes from HE Homes station, MARTA station, to Six Flags.
Yeah.
There's a commuter bus that runs back and forth.
Right.
I would like to see more robust connectivity. I know that would, in my mind, that would help alleviate some of the traffic we do have on the corridors, but it
Mm-hmm.
also gives people expanded options. Again, I I take trips to see the Atlanta Hawks, and it's a quick trip for me to go down to HE Home Station and hop on the MARTA with my kids, and we'll go down and watch a Hawks game, hop back on and come right back out, and no need to deal with the traffic and the parking
Oh
downtown
yeah.
Atlanta. It's
Absolutely.
very easy. I love to do it. So I personally firsthand see the advantages of it, and I know that it could truly open up our city to more opportunities for commuting, for people to get back and forth to work, that could use it. So I definitely see the advantages of it. I know there's people out there that would speak to the contrary,
Mm.
but as mayor, again, I want to do things that I can to expand the viability and making Mableton a better place for everybody.
So my last question, I want to bring you back to the Six Flags development ideas. Are you guys envisioning something more along like what the Battery is like, or like Broadway at the Beach in Myrtle Beach, or something along those lines to sort of downtown Disney? What is it that's kind of coming to formation in your mind when it comes to this Six Flags Entertainment District? And what sort of tax dollars would go into this, or is this just something where the city's just openly encouraging it, but not exactly wanting to fork over dollars?
Great question. Very early in our city, right? Like, as you mentioned, we're in the infancy of our city,
right?
But that doesn't stop us from dreaming big, right? It doesn't stop us from looking at opportunities. Again, that, many of us have lived here for a long time, understand the challenges, but see the opportunities. And I don't think you're far off when we talk about, the Battery, downtown Disney, from a thematic perspective of saying, hey, this is a great area that we can develop. As people go to the Battery all the time when there's not a Braves game,
right?
Even though we know that's centered around the Braves, I'm looking at an opportunity that we have with the Six Flags area, what we coined the Six Flags Entertainment District. That's just a name, right? That's just been put out there. But the real gist around it is that we see an area that could truly be a destination place, and where people could go, whether or not they're going into the Six Flags Park or not.
Mm-hmm.
Same as you have with Disney or with the Braves there in the Battery, but to truly create a destination place where people could eat and be entertained and, again, have somewhere else to go that's not exactly going downtown Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
but becomes a place and a hub, if you will, for some type of entertainment that people could go out and enjoy themselves and have a great time. And it's really about that. It's really about providing additional opportunities for people to enjoy themselves and have an entertainment area where we could call our own here in the city, but that also could be utilized for people across the metro area. And, as it relates to, how we're really going to move forward with this, I'm really trying to be the catalyst around the ideas about what's possible. And, as a mayor and as a city, if we are supportive of the idea, if we are pushing it, then again, we could be that catalyst to work with developers and other investors and people that have ideas to be able to bring to the table. So it is a part of our Mableton 2045 comprehensive plan
mm-hmm.
that we're going to take a look at and at least work with planners as far as what that would look like. And of course, and the last mile of that is to bring developers to the table, get people that in this vision and this idea to make it and turn it into fruition.
If you enjoyed playing SimCity, this guy gets to do it now for a living. He is the mayor of Mableton. Did you play that game when you were a kid?
I did indeed. Yeah.
I knew it. He's Michael Owens. He is the very first mayor of Mableton, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining the Ron Show today and having this conversation. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're in the home stretch for the Thursday Ron Show. Thank you for listening. We appreciate that. I want to thank Mayor Michael Owens from the city of Mableton for joining me for the abundance of today's show. The Georgia Win List, by the way, celebrates the eve of International Women's Day today with the announcement of their 2024 early candidate endorsements. There will be a reception and a panel discussion as well later today. 12:15 press conference on the Capitol South steps, which the group will then introduce support for 6 newly endorsed 2024 candidates for the election cycle, 4 of whom they hope to flip seats currently held by Republicans. The evening reception at the Georgia Freight Depot downtown Atlanta features a panel discussion focused on winning women for turbulent times, moderated by Win List Executive Director, friend of the show, Melita Easters. That happens from 5:30 until 7. That gets everybody out of there and home in time to watch the President's State of the Union address. So before I go, real quick, I do actually want to give you some of the audio from yesterday's Georgia Senate Subcommittee hearing investigations into the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and the handling of hiring Nathan Wade as special prosecutor in the Trump interference case. Because, again, Senator Harold Jones from Richmond County had a little back and forth with Ashley Merchant that I think was pretty notable. Listen to this exchange.
So Mr. Wade offered my client misdemeanor probation. So we were the first people to get an offer. And we said no, we wanted a dismissal because he was not guilty. And that did not happen. So obviously there's an interest in him being convicted of something, because when the plea offer was for him to pay a $5,000 fine and have a misdemeanor.
So in reality, because you said that he wanted to extend the case out, he was actually trying to end your client's case.
with a $5,000.
But it was going to end.
It
There
would.
would be no more billing on that case because earlier you
Just
said,
mine.
but earlier you said that you believe, which was total speculation, that they created this case against your client to do more billing. And what you're just telling me now is that he was willing to stop his billing because he offered your client a misdemeanor and you rejected it. You're the one who's continuing the billing.
Oh, I don't bill by the hour.
No, you're the one that's continuing to make him bill. He was willing to cut that off. You said, I believe that they created this case against my client
Right.
so they can continue to bill.
Not
Well, he
just my
basically went out and said, I'm tired of billing. I'm going to offer a misdemeanor.
Okay,
And you said no.
So Ashley Merchant did push back, saying that all the cases being lumped together, Coffee County, federal, state, all being lumped in, sort of mitigates Harold Jones' point. But here we are in an extended circumstance, not because of the district attorney's office, but because of these disqualification antics. So that also has to come to mind, right? Another assertion Jones made, these charges didn't come from the district attorney's office. They came from a grand jury.
How is your client charged? How are these clients charged?
My client was charged just in the actual grand jury.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a grand jury.
Yes.
Okay. So we had a special grand jury, and then you had a grand jury
Yes.
who made this determination.
Well, yes.
They made a determination to bring charges, basically, to indict, correct?
Yes, and I.
So are they part of all of this?
No. Not one.
And how much does Ms. Willis make?
200 and something thousand a year.
And so your
It's in my brief.
argument is that a person who makes $200,000 a year
Mm-hmm.
is actually setting up prosecutions to go on a trip that costs $3,500. That's your argument.
No, not in isolation. I mean, you're talking about in isolation.
No,
That
I'm
in
not talking about
isolation.
isolation. I'm talking about what's in briefs. I don't know what else you may be speculating about. I'm just talking about what's in briefs that says this is the benefit that she got. And all I'm saying is that I got a person who's making $200,000, and the benefit that you're putting into the briefs, not what you may say that you may find elsewhere, but the benefit in the briefs is I go on a trip for $3,300, $4,400. And they have made up all these prosecutions to go on a 3-day cruise for $3,300. I mean, that's your argument. If that's your argument, that's your argument.
A very tense exchange between Senator Harold Jones from Richmond County and Michael Roman's attorney, Ashley Merchant. Again, I'll share that for you in the show notes at ronshowatl.com. All right, so we set you up for the day, right? By the way, the Peachtree Street traffic issue that has been resolved. Apparently that protester has been detached from the construction equipment that they were protesting on. So go take on your day. Don't forget State of the Union tonight. Yeah, like a geek, I'll be watching that. This is actually, I think, a pretty important State of the Union, not so much just for the contents of what President Joe Biden will be stating. Let me share with you real quick some notes that I saw from earlier in the day that came in from the Washington Post that spoke to him announcing tax proposals targeting billionaires, the rich and big corporations. That's a low-hanging fruit, red meat for the left. A chance for him to address criticism of his handling of the Israel-Gaza war, immigration, concerns about his age ahead of November's election. That's something that I think a lot of folks will be watching as we head into the 242-day now cycle for the race for the Oval Office. When you think about it, you've got the 81-year-old versus the 77-year-old, both of whom have their struggles when speaking live for long periods of time. One because, you could cite for age, but one has been battling a stutter since his youth. Not that, that needs to be made an excuse. But my point is, between convention speeches, both of them will have convention speeches, and the State of the Union, it is only President Joe Biden who will likely have the American people's attention in full scope, unabated. So this is an important speech for him, not just on substance, but on delivery. I guess my point is, sadly, we live in an optical culture, and optics will matter. So this is an important speech for the president, not just that. In fact, I hope he's getting his naps in today, and he comes in looking all vim and vigorous, as we are told by associates and those in the administration. He's so vim and vigorous behind closed doors. Well, we'll get a look at that tonight. So we'll be back here tomorrow to discuss not just the substance of his speech, but obviously we all came away feeling about it optically. And of course, there'll be instant polling and punditry We'll dive into all that and more. That's going to do it for today's Ron Show. Replaying 5 to 6 p.m. today on the America One Radio app, and then wherever you podcast. Show notes at ronshowatl.com. My thanks to Mayor Michael Owens of Mableton for joining me earlier. Y'all have a great one.